What's up guys, Zero Skater here, and today I want to show off something special. It's going to be a box opening for Battle of Legends Vol.2. And I was lucky enough to get this when I went over to GenCon. We were promised the TOs from the first tournament earlier in the year, as well as the Champion, Prospero, and Runner-Up Bug Hunter. We are getting the early release copies, and so I got to grab that when I was over at GenCon, and I just wanted to show it off in all of its physical glory. And so, as always guys, be sure to attack the like button if you enjoy the video, and subscribe for more Unmatched content. And with that said, let's not wait any longer and check out Battle of Legends Volume 2. Alright, so here we go with the box opening for Battle of Legends Volume 2. So I got this copy early from GenCon actually, and I was one of the few people getting the early copies because of the first online tournament that we ran back earlier in the year. So I'm super lucky to have this right now, especially with all the shipping delays going on right now. But I'm excited to show this off to you guys. So there we have the awesome box art, and of course Battle of Legends Volume 2 has Sun Wukong, Yennenga, Achilles, and Bloody Mary. And I know we've all seen the front of this box probably a million times by now. Here's some cool art on the sides. There's some for Bloody Mary. We got for Achilles. Of course, on the bottom we have Yennenga, and on the top we have Sun Wukong. So that extra art on the sides and whatnot is always really cool to see. Here's the back of the box. So again, we have all the fighters listed out. Here's a couple of the new cards shown, and then the new map as well, the Hanging Gardens. So let's go ahead and crack it open and take a look. So here we have the new Battle of Legends Volume 2 rulebook, and it's got a little description of all the fighters there. Of course, talks about the rules, which we all know. Of course, you know, Defender resolves first, being pretty much the only one you need to know here. A couple of things about the new high ground mechanic, and the clones for Wukong, the archers for Yennenga, and the new bonus attack mechanic, which if you guys haven't seen that yet is a really cool thing in this new set, where basically one card becomes two separate attacks if the effect triggers, and the opponent can defend one or both of those attacks, or none. But they're really powerful. And here of course we see the health dials. So you got for Achilles and his sidekick Patroclus at the top, you got for Yennenga down at the bottom here, and you have for Bloody Mary and for Sun Wukong. Of course, Mary doesn't have a sidekick. Wukong just has the clones, which are 1 health tokens, and Yennenga has the archers, which are tokens, so we're not going to see any dials for those. But let's take a look at, of course, the new map. You guys have seen, I'm sure, the Hanging Gardens. Really cool map, again with the high ground mechanic. So if you're on any of these spaces and then you're attacking following the arrow, the direction into the adjacent space, if you're attacking from here to here, you would get the high ground advantage, and you get a +1 to your attack value. So that's a pretty neat mechanic in this new map. It's kind of spread out all over the board, so really interesting to play on. And something you probably haven't seen yet is the back of the board, of course, with the rings instead of the circles. I know they're going to be doing this new form of the maps moving forward. They're just going to have one map. It's the same thing on each side, except different aesthetics on it, because I guess some people prefer the rings, and I think other people, like myself, prefer the classic unmatched circles. But it's cool to see both of them nonetheless. And then of course we see all the fighters here. So you got these amazing looking figures. Here is Bloody Mary. This is one of the most interesting ones, I think. It's really cool how there's 3, of course, Bloody Mary coming out of the mirror there. And you've got Sun Wukong, which I have already shown this one off. I was lucky enough to do the reveal video for Wukong. And so, again, this is just an awesome looking mini. See if I can get the camera to focus here. There we go. And then we see for Yennenga, I love the dark blue on this one. The color theming just looks so nice. And last but not least, we have Achilles. Another great looking mini. Alright, and then here are our sidekick tokens. So of course Wukong can have up to 3 clones. So we have the clone tokens, and then Yennenga has the archers, which she gets 2 of, and these ones are 2 health sidekicks. So you see the health 2 side, and then on the other side is just blank, so that indicates 1 health remaining, and then of course you'd remove it from the board once it dies off there. So that's really cool. And you have Patroclus for Achilles. He is your standard sidekick. I believe he's got 6 health, but we'll take a look at that in just a minute. And then the rivets for the health dials here. And then let's take a look at the decks. Starting with, I guess, Bloody Mary. We'll go in order here. So with Bloody Mary, you see the ability card first. So she's melee move 3, which is really good, 16 health. And at the start of your turn, if you have exactly 3 cards in hand, gain an action. So that's a really cool ability. Of course, we're seeing the theming of the 3s continue on here with the move 3, the 3 cards. You get the 3 actions, so really cool, really unique. You got the awesome card back there. Very dark. And then some of the cards, let's take a look. So we got the character card, then we have 3 Bloody Requiem. And I will be doing a review of sorts for these fighters coming up here. But for now, let's just show off the cards. We see the Speak 3 times, 2 copies of that one. You got your 2 Ghostly Touch. And you've got 3 copies of Broken Glass, 2 Mirror Image, 2 Stolen Memories, got 3 Trick of the Light, 3 Evades, 2 Infinity Mirrors. Only 2 feints in this one, which is really the first time we've seen that. Normally, if a character has feints, there's always 3 copies, but this is the first time we've seen 2. And we see Jump Scare, 2 Closer Than She Appears, and 2 Out of the Mirror. So the art on Bloody Mary is really creepy. It's really cool to see something like that introduced into the game. But here's the deck layout. Again, I'll talk more about these in a review later on. But basically, Bloody Mary is pretty complex. I think she's probably the weakest one in the set, but it's going to be a really fun puzzle to try and figure out and make her work. I think triggering her ability as frequently as you can is probably going to give you the most optimal output from the deck. She probably wants to be pretty aggressive because she doesn't have a lot of passes, and she is going to want to make good use out of that extra action that she's gaining with her really powerful attacks like Speak 3 times and Ghostly Touch. Things like Jump Scare are great for dealing damage, as well as Broken Glass. So she's pretty solid overall, but I think she's going to have to be played pretty aggressively to close out the game before she hits fatigue. And then let's move on to Sun Wukong. I know I have shown this one off already, but we'll do it again here real quick. And if you guys did not see my Wukong reveal video, I'd recommend you go check that out. I do go into a deeper review of that one in that video. I'll put a link in the description. But we see Wukong, he's got 17 health, move 2, melee, he's got clones. At the start of your turn, you may take a damage to summon a clone in an empty space adjacent to Wukong. You do not start with any clones on the board, but you can continuously generate them throughout the game as long as you have the health to do so. So it's a really, really powerful ability. Got the awesome card back, of course, the red and gold looks great. And you've got your 2 copies of Golden Chainmail. You've got 3 copies of Infinite Strikes. You've got 2 copies of Bewilderment. You've got your 1 copy of Phoenix Form. You've got 2 Tortoise Form. 2 Ox Form. So those are all your different form cards, and then 72 Transformations is the card that's going to get those back and let you recycle them throughout the game. So they're really, really powerful cards. Great utility to choose the one you need at the right time too for transformations. And of course you got your Taunting Laughter, another just really powerful card. Ryu Jingobang is the new bonus attack there. Another powerful card. A lot of mind games that one creates. You got your 2 Fiery Eyes at Sea. Your 3 copies of, actually there's 4 copies of Sly Monkey. So this one generates extra clones without taking the health damage. And you've got 3 copies of Wily Fighting, so we see a card returning from an older set that's now basically a common card, which is really cool. So Wukong, obviously, he's got really powerful cards. He does not have a lot of draw power, but that's his main weakness. Otherwise, he is really strong in general. I know a lot of people have been a little worried that Wukong will basically dominate the meta against melee fighters, but we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out after practicing, because it's a little bit too early to tell. But his ability does seem really strong, being able to summon basically an infinite amount of clones and let them eat up attacks instead of Wukong himself. So we'll see how it goes, but he's really cool nonetheless. And then let's take a look at Yennenga. So off the bat, this was my personal thought of the best fighter. It's really hard to say, again, without having tested it, but just on paper, she seems really strong. Her ability is crazy good. So if we look at the hero card here, she's move 2, but she is ranged, and so are her sidekicks. And if Yennenga would take damage, you may assign any amount of that damage to 1 or more archers in her zone instead. You may not assign more damage to an archer than their remaining health. But basically, it lets you split your damage among archers if you guys are in the same zone. So you're going to want to play grouped up, and I think you want to put Yennenga up front and protect the archers so the archers can soak up health, because if you think about it, if an archer takes 1 damage, that's essentially healing Yennenga for 1, and then it still has 1 health left to be a body block to eat up another card if you then put that archer in front of Yennenga. And it could be a 3 to 5 value card that kills the 1 health archer, so that's a lot of overkill damage wasted, and that didn't go into Yennenga. So if you're able to split the damage first to weaken the archer and then put the archer up front to body block, or heal them, as we'll see there is a healing card, that's just really efficient use of health. So I think it's a very, very powerful ability, but we're going to see how it plays out in practice. Here you got the awesome dark blue card back art with the moonlight there. I love that one. So we'll take a look at the deck. We see the Stallion Charge, which there are 3 copies, and this card is just insane for getting through 1 health sidekicks from the opponent. You have 3 copies of Jaws of the Beast, another just really powerful card. Shield Formation. You got 3 copies of Point Blank. So that's sort of like a counterpunch. You have Master of the Hunt, which is crazy. It just gains 2 actions. So you can do some big swing turns with that card. Here's the healing card I talked about, one with the land. It heals you and your archers. Essentially, you can get up to 3 healing overall if you use it to maximum efficiency. You've got your bonus attack here with Rain of Arrows. Just a really solid double 3 attack card. You have 2 copies of Divide and Conquer for the archers. Really good defense card for them. Pin the Prey is very good for certain setups, like with Jaws of the Beast. Makes your opponent have to discard cards, which is always good. You got 3 copies of Surprise Volley to either pull off big swing turns or get your archers back. And you have 3 Momentous Shifts, which is really powerful on a ranged fighter. And lastly, you have 2 copies of Skirmish, which Skirmish is just a really powerful card in general. So yeah, I think she's really strong on paper. I have yet to play her, so just initial impressions I'm going off of here. I could be definitely wrong, but I'm really interested to see. Her ability seems just insanely good. She's got a lot of really powerful cards in the deck, but I guess there is nothing like outstandingly strong in terms of damage output without effects. Like you have Momentous Shift, which can be a 5, Jaws of the Beast could be a 6, but just overall it seems like she's just super solid and should be able to adapt to any matchup that she's up against. So we're gonna have to see, but I'm really looking forward to trying it out. And last but not least, we have Achilles. And this is actually the one that I personally was most excited for leading into the reveals. I've still yet to play with Achilles, but it looks like a blast. It's a really interesting dynamic you have with your sidekick, because the game really just is completely different based on how early Patroclus dies off. Because if you look at his ability here, it says when Patroclus is defeated, discard 2 random cards. So the timing of that is going to make or break your game, because if you have only 2 cards in your hand when that happens, you're left with 0 cards, you can't defend, and your opponent can totally swing the game in their favor by hitting you for undefended attacks. But otherwise, it says while Patroclus is defeated, add +2 to the value of all Achilles attacks, and if Achilles wins combat, draw a card. So that's incredibly powerful, and you're basically going to steamroll your opponent from there. Your only worry at that point is your fatigue clock, right? Like your deck count is the only thing you have to worry about. Otherwise, you're going to be winning combats left and right, drawing cards to keep up your hand, and you just keep smacking them for big attacks, dealing damage, and hopefully you can deal enough damage before you fatigue out. But it's just a really interesting dynamic. You see he's got 18 health, so that's really beefy. Patroclus has 6 health, which is okay. That's 24 combined, which is pretty good. Move 2 is pretty basic. And then you see the awesome card back art, so it's just really cool, like classic Greek painting style. I'd expect to see this on like some kind of pot or a vase or something, which is just really cool. So taking a look at the deck with Achilles, we have, of course, Achilles Heel. 3 copies of that, which is a powerful defense card in certain situations, but could definitely backfire, which is very fitting of the name. Then you have 2 copies of Spear Throw, just a powerful scheme for extra damage. You got his bonus attack, Test for Weakness, which is a base 1/3 and becomes a 3/5 after Patroclus has died. 3 copies of Under Achilles' Helm, which is probably one of the best defenses in the game before Patroclus dies, and becomes really bad afterwards. So just another interesting dynamic there. You got Battle Frenzy, which is a really good card for Patroclus to deal damage to the opponent as well as himself. Same with the Day of Your Doom. Very similar card there. And then you have 3 copies of Brothers in Arms, which is really cool how it can be just a powerful 6 attack, or it can gain you an action. Then we have, this is a basic card that gives you some movement called Blessed by Hermes. You got 2 copies of Battle Hardened, which will recycle cards. You got 2 copies of Wily Fighting, so again we see this card making a comeback in this set. Good card overall. You got your 3 copies of Skirmish, which is always good to see. And your 3 copies of Feint. Again, great to see that too. We do see in this set there's a kind of a lack of feints, with Bloody Mary only having 2 copies, Wukong has 0, and Yennenga has 0. So it's pretty interesting the amount of characters they're starting to make without feints, or with basically feint substitutes. So that'll be cool to see moving forward. But overall, Achilles, he seems really strong. Just kind of like a Bigfoot-esque character who is just brute strength, except he's not always like Bigfoot. It is in 2 different phases. So the pre-Pat death phase is going to be completely different from the post-Pat death phase. And you're going to want to get to that post-death phase as soon as you can, so you can really just steamroll the game from there with no worries of fatigue and just hitting for huge attacks. You're basically unstoppable. But it's going to be up to the opponent to not kill Patroclus and to try to cancel these two cards here that are self-damaging to Patroclus, and try to avoid this under Achilles helm, because this lets Patroclus get hit instead of Achilles, so it swaps the defender target, which is really tricky. But it's really cool. Can't wait to see how this one plays out, and I am really looking forward to playing it myself. And there you have it, guys. That is Battle of Legends Volume 2. I know we have released these files on Tabletop Simulator, so many of you have already been playing with them online, which is really cool. There's a lot of hype going on about this set, a lot of discussion in terms of the meta and how that's going to shape up, and I can't wait to join you all. Like I said, I really haven't played much of this at all yet, but I'm going to be soon, and I'll probably be streaming a lot of it, so really looking forward to that. And one more thing I wanted to show off too was the really sweet prizes that we were giving out at GenCon. So as many of you know, at GenCon we were running some draft style tournaments there, and they were really successful. People had a lot of fun with it. I think the format was really cool and helped change things up. And the prizes for those tournaments were these awesome golden minis for Battle of Legends Volume 2. So let's see if I can get that in good focus here. So I was lucky enough to take home a couple of these myself for running the tournaments. And here, obviously, this is Bloody Mary, which is super cool in a golden version. The gray washed minis are amazing already, and these golden ones are just a cool, special edition. And then I got to take Achilles as well. And then Gary, the other tournament organizer who ran those with me, he took home the Sun Wukong and Yennenga golden minis. And I know a couple of you guys from the Discord. I know Tater Tots and Sidious and Freak. They got to take home some of the golden minis themselves for winning the tournaments. So congrats to them. There was a super cool and unexpected prize. But again, thanks to Restoration for giving out such cool prize support, and really looking forward to doing more in-person events in the future. GenCon was a blast, so I can't wait for the next one. And that's going to do it for the box opening, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It's a little bit different from what I'm normally used to doing on the channel, but if you guys like it and you want to see more of these with future upcoming sets, let me know and I'd be happy to do them. And look out for Battle of Legends Volume 2 in early 2022, so Q1 at some point. It may ship even earlier with pre-orders, but I'm not positive on that one, so it really just depends on all the shipping issues going on in the world and when they can work themselves out. But look forward to that coming soon, and I hope you all are having fun playing it on TTS, and I can't wait to join you in that. And again, thanks to everybody who participated in the GenCon tournaments. It was a blast, and thanks to Restoration for letting us run those and giving us the awesome prize support like the golden minis and the foil promo cards and all that good stuff, and just being so supportive of our community and everything we do here with Unmatched. So thank you so much, guys, and if you enjoyed the video, again, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Let me know down in the comments. Also, again, if you want to see more of these box opening type videos, I'd be happy to do them. Just let me know. And thanks again for watching, guys. I'm ZeroSkater12, and I'll see you next time.